You're listening to an extract of the Leader podcast. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Outside Maidstone County Hall, journalists gathered for the opening of the inquest into the death of Sarah Everard, which was adjourned pending the conclusion of criminal proceedings. Londoners are still processing her horrific disappearance and death, which has prompted a renewed focus on keeping women safe on the capital's streets. It's been a particularly stressful time for teachers at secondary age schools around Clapham in southwest London, where Sarah disappeared, as girls raised concerns about safety going to and from school. I'm joined by Gill Cross, Deputy Head Mistress at Streatham and Clapham High School. Teachers there have been supporting particularly older pupils affected by the tragic events and the outpouring of emotion seen at the weekend's vigil on Clapham Common. And Gill, how have you seen the recent events affecting your pupils?
So the school is really near the place where Sarah was last seen. And certainly shortly afterwards, there's a real sense of the anguish felt by her family and friends. And the paths along the roads and the commons where the girls walked to school had many, many posters up asking if anyone had seen her. And you could really sense the urgency and the distress.
I see. And what about staff members? How are they processing everything that's happened?
It has unsettled the school community. There's no question about that. There's been a lot of talk in the staff room about the sadness of something like this happening. And as I said, it's very close to the bone. Some of our staff live near the road where Sarah went missing. And there is great concern, and it's interesting because it's become a thing that is sort of symbolic of a feeling amongst people in general, but really in terms of our staff also, where they're questioning some of the things that are going on in society, and they're questioning how this could happen in just such a way.
Would you be able to describe any safety issues the school has dealt with in the past, and what action have you subsequently taken?
So it's key that they're able to move about freely and confidently, but by the same token, they've got to take care of themselves. So we try to be practical with them. Mm-hmm. We try to remind them to travel with others. We tell them not to have their mobile phones out and to avoid certain places in after dark. And we also tell them not to congregate on the commons too much, because that can actually attract people with nefarious wishes. We have girls who will be walking home and suddenly somebody will jump out of a bush and he might reveal himself to them. We've had all sorts of things like that have happened in the past. And we always report them to the police, and we make it really clear to the girls that we're going to report and that it's for their protection and so that they have a voice, and all of those really positive things. We've had incidents on local buses where people have just casually come up and touched our girls. They've also tried to get them to look at pornographic pictures or pornography on their phone and all sorts of things like that. There's also, of course, the white van issue that there are. Historically, we've had men, I don't know why it's always white vans, but that call out to girls, make suggestive comments to them, try and lurk around near bus stops for them.
Oh, these incidents sound traumatic. How are you helping empower your pupils to deal with any problems that they encounter away from school grounds?
So we tread a very fine tightrope of wanting our girls to be alert, to be safe, but also to want to move around and not feel that they're going to be harassed by people. So one of the really obvious things that we do is to ask them to be much more alert to their surroundings when they're outside, and to be less alert to each other. And so with their conversations, they need to be looking forward and looking around rather than looking at each other when they converse. So something as simple as that. We also are very mindful and very clear with them about travelling in pairs as often as they can, and not be travelling on their own, and also to be careful after dark, and in particular anywhere near the commons. We also tell the girls to phone 999 if they feel threatened. Girls report things to us much more than they used to. So historically, we might have got some older girls who would report something that had happened to younger girls, and the younger girls might not have bothered to say. They didn't want to make a fuss, or they think that perhaps that's just what happens to them outside. So we do have now, the girls will come and they will very confidently report, and they will very confidently talk to police officers who visit when necessary, and all of those kind of things. So that's a real positive. a real positive that they are prepared to report and they are prepared to speak up and to challenge. We also have the girls are much more confident in terms of challenging behaviours that they don't like. I know that they have been very firm with men who have been inappropriate with them and told them to stop and told them that they don't like it. So that's also really good.